Hi, friends. Maya Lila here. I have my selenite microphone wand, and there's a car alarm that may or may not be going off. I'm coming to you from Albania. I'm living in a small town called Saranda. We are right across from Greece. You can't see it, but Corfu is just behind this building. And I wanted to share a story, some story time today. This morning I got up early and I went for a walk while my girls were sleeping. And my intuition, I was planning on walking towards this cafe that I know of that opens up pretty early by a park where I go play with the girls. And I was going to go there, and there's kind of like a hike to get there that we discovered yesterday that I'm super excited about. But my intuition had me go the other way. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to follow my intuition and see where it leads me because oftentimes it becomes a magical journey. And I just want to pinpoint, highlight that your intuition is how your soul speaks to you through your body and how the divine communicates with you. So I follow my intuition, follow my soul, and instead of turning right, I turn left. And I'm walking along this kind of promenade, and it's April here in Saranda, which is a seasonal town, and so it's still pretty empty. And most places are not open right now, especially in the area that I'm living in the southern part of town, that's away from like the main tourism hub. And so I'm walking along this promenade, and I'm like, okay, maybe I'll find some like little cafe on the beach that's really cute that just happens to be open. And there were these little side roads going down to the water because I was kind of up off of the shoreline. And I kept checking my intuition, like, should I turn here? Should I turn here? Should I turn here? And it kept saying no, no, no. And I was like, okay. And eventually I noticed I was walking behind this woman, and she's an older woman with like kind of a silvery bob. And and so I just noticed like, oh, this woman's walking. She's obviously on her morning walk like I am. And she's, a few hundred feet ahead of me. And the promenade kind of ended in a construction zone. And so as she is walking ahead of me, she kind of gets to the end of the road and turns around because it's construction as you can't go any further. And so then I'm thinking to myself like, oh fuck, I'm gonna have to turn around too. So as she's walking towards me, I continued walking forward, and when she got to where I was like, oh, I was following you. And she kind of was like smiled and like waved, and I tried a few different languages. I was like, do you speak English? No. Parli Italiano? No. And she started speaking a little bit of Spanish, which I do speak Spanish. And so we cobbled together a conversation. And it turns out that she is Albanian, but it sounds like she lived in Greece at some point because she speaks Greek. And then her husband of maybe, I don't know how many years, she didn't tell me that, but probably 20, 30 years, her husband was Spanish. So she spoke some Spanish. She had three children. One of them lived in Spain, and two of them, I think, lived in Greece. And yeah, we ended up walking and talking, and I kind of through miming and Spanish English mashup and just charades. I asked her like, "Oh, is there like a cafe around here somewhere where I can get some coffee?" And so she was like, "No, no, like my house. You come my house." And I was like, "Sure." And her name is Sappho, and she goes by Mama Sappho. Um, and we walked to her house, which was like a five minute walk from where we were. And we sat on her balcony, and she made me coffee, and it was like Turkish style coffee, and it kind of tasted like mint somehow. I was like, this is a very interesting coffee. But she served me a little espresso and a little cookie and a glass of water, and yeah, we even though we didn't really speak each other's languages, like between the two of us, obviously we had multiple languages that we had enough to kind of mash together an approximation of a conversation. I didn't have my cell phone with me. Otherwise, if I had data, I could have used Google Translate. She didn't have her cell phone either. She's probably in her 60s, or I would say late 60s, maybe early 70s. And yeah, she shared that she walked every day, and she used to walk like 6 kilometers a day, but she has like an injured knee or something, or problems with her heart. I'm not sure. But now she only walks about 3 kilometers a day. And it was just such a beautiful interaction. And When you're traveling as a global nomad, oftentimes it ends up being kind of stratified where you're not interacting with the locals so much. And that's kind of been my experience in the other countries that we've lived in, especially where there is a lot of expat community, because you can kind of find other English speakers, other expats, and you end up just hanging out with them. Which, of course, it helps you not feel alone, because I have lived also. I remember when I was younger and I lived in Italy for a while, and I only had Italian friends, and I didn't speak much Italian, and I did not understand. I understood maybe at the time 60%. And when you have no English speakers to talk to, it gets really lonely. It gets really isolating, and it's just exhausting to constantly function in a foreign language. And so I have found it's much less isolating and lonely to find other expats and English speakers. And when you're not going through the kind of discomfort and the challenge of connecting with the local people and mashing up languages or trying to understand their language or using Google Translate even to communicate, you miss out on that broader connection with people who live a completely different lifestyle and have completely different life experiences from you. So I just really loved this opportunity to have this connection with this woman. And again, it was, it a little uncomfortable? Yeah, like there were stretches of silence. There was a lot of partial understanding and not understanding. Sometimes she would say something and I was like, I have no idea what you're saying. But again, between the various languages that we speak and just intuiting, like you can, if you're paying attention to somebody, you can intuit a lot of what they mean. And a lot of communication is not even straight logical comprehension of words. It's intuiting the feeling of what someone's communicating. So yeah, I just wanted to share this little magical story and encourage you in your day to day life. If your soul or your intuition is telling you to turn left instead of turn right, try it. Like follow it. See what happens when you follow those inklings and those little tips and hints from the universe, because you never know who you're going to meet. You never know where that's going to take you. And I've had so many experiences in my life where I stepped into the unknown and it ended up being so magical and sometimes even miraculous. And that's where the magic and the miracles happen, is in the unknown. If you are in the known day to day, you're in full control of your life, of your experience, there's no room really necessarily for magic or miracles. So yeah, just let today be your reminder, my little story of reminding you that you are always guided, you are always safe. There's so much love and kindness in the world, and humans are good, and humans want to connect, and humans want to share and give, and just communicate and be seen. So, yeah, I hope you have a wonderful day and a reminder to serve your soul, not your fears. Okay, bye.